gonna go down to the bayou, son, in New Orleans, hop a ride on that Derek Carr revenge train.
What's up, everybody? My name is Matt Miller. This is Updog Sports Talk. To my right, we have our newest member, Chad Bunt. Give him a wave.
Woo!
Below me is returning co-founder and co-member Justin McGovern. What's going on, Justin?
Well, I'm just excited to talk about NFL football. Our previous series is back. We're getting close to another season, and we're going to kick this off with the NFC South. Let's go ahead and get started here. First team on our list is the Atlanta Falcons. So the Atlanta Falcons, I've noticed, is the only team in this division that seems to have a plan and is going forward with that plan. Artie Smith wants this to be a run-heavy team. They have gone full speed into this with the addition of Bijan Robinson this offseason. They've now added an electric runner to go in with their amazing running scheme. That is the strength of their team. They don't have much of a passing offense, though. Desmond Ridder took over and added a little bit more pop to the passing game, but do not expect them to pass it more than 20 times a game. Drake London is their main receiver. They really don't have anyone else outside of that. Kyle Pitts, maybe they'll get him involved, but they didn't do that last year, so let's see what happens there. On their defensive side, are they ever going to get a pass rush, guys? Like, the Atlanta Falcons have not had a good pass rush since, like, the third quarter of Super Bowl 51. Like, it's ridiculous.
Calais Campbell.
That one since. They did add Calais Campbell. We'll see what he does. I think he'll do more run support than pass rush at this age, but yeah, they didn't really add any other defensive linemen to really help it out either. I was there
in the draft they did.
Yeah, they drafted one
Harrison and
yeah. But anyways, Chad, what are your thoughts on the Atlanta Falcons?
I think they're looking up. I think this team was a sad team last year. It was dependent on three different kinds of running backs. Now they got Bijan Robinson, as you spoke of. They still have Drake London and Kyle Pitts, so hopefully they can grow with that offense. Defensively, I think they've added some good defensive linemen in the draft, like Zach Harrison was mentioned, and Calais Campbell. Their free agency additions of Jesse Bates was a really nice signing. And they're always good, AJ Terrell. So, look out for the Falcons. I don't think they win a division, but I think they make some noise.
Yeah, offensively, definitely, like Justin said, definitely going to be running the ball a lot. I mean, they do have Scotty Miller, BGSU alum, shout out.
Yeah.
But Mac Hollins, not that great. They're not deep at all at receiver. JJ Arcega-Whiteside might not even make the roster, and he's the only other receiver outside of those three that I know. Offensive line, still just dogs. Kyle Pitts and Jonnu Smith probably gonna they're probably gonna run a lot of two tight end sets if I'm guessing correctly.
Pound the rock,
Ridder,
baby.
Huh?
Pound the rock, baby.
Yeah. I mean, they may run a lot of option because Desmond Ridder's got some wheels. That'll open up the pass game, but like Justin said, not probably passing it more than 25 times. If they're down a little bit, I can see them hitting like 35 times just to try to keep up.
35 times, that means something went wrong that game.
They're down by like 28 points. And
yeah, but I mean, if they're passing, they have to pass to keep up with other teams in the NFL. So he's probably going to pass the ball 35 times every now and then. But they got Taylor Heineke in case things go south with the Ridder. Defensively, definitely stepped up their game a little bit. They have Calais Campbell, but he's aging. So that'll add a little bit of pass rush with Grady Jarrett. Bud Dupree came in, but he's more of a run stopper than a edge rusher. Weak on the linebackers, but definitely promising in the secondary. They got Jesse Bates and Trey Flowers from the Bengals, Mike Hughes and Jeff Okudah from the Lions. So they got a little bit of promise, and then they still got AJ Terrell. So, and then they got Young Ho Koo kicking the ball for him. Best name in the
onside
NFL.
kick specialist.
Yeah. And And they still got Cordero Patterson returning kicks, so they have the tools to succeed. But Arthur Smith is definitely on the hot seat.
I'm sure they'll shoehorn Cordero Patterson in the offense somehow.
I was gonna say, where do you think he plays this year? Is he a running back? Is he a wide receiver? Does he take his turn at quarterback? Who knows?
Yeah.
He'll probably rotate a lot of jet sweeps, a lot of options. They'll probably run like a triple option shotgun.
Yeah, they got
That'd be pretty
Tyler
good.
Algier too, so go ahead and just throw in all the running backs.
Yeah. So
Next
who we got
up,
next, Justin?
Carolina Panthers. They obviously their big move this offseason was getting Bryce Young into the fold here. Bryce Young, I'm excited to see what he looks like because like a lot of Alabama quarterbacks coming to the NFL, it's kind of like, well, this is gonna be a different story because they had it pretty easy, like usually Alabama quarterbacks are throwing the guys who are a lot better than defenses are facing. That wasn't the case with Bryce Young last year. Bryce Young, he was a gamer. Like he had to make the plays happen for that team. That Alabama team was not as good as usual, and he really carried them. He's gonna have to carry this team too, because honestly, I'm not a big fan of their skill talent around them. Like they have an aging Adam Thielen who can't really get open anymore. DJ Shark maybe plays like 5 games a year now. They did draft Jonathan Mingo in the second round. They really need him to become the guy. Or Terrence Marshall, who they drafted a few years ago, but hasn't panned out yet. Hayden Hurst at least gives him something to throw to. And Miles Sanders, we'll see what he does. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a big fan of him. I thought he produced last year because he was behind the best offensive line. What's he going to do behind this one? This offensive line's getting better, but it's not there yet. Defensively, they're struggling to have a pass rush. They really missed Hassan Reddick last year. But they still have Brian Burns and Derek Brown to help. Linebacker's pretty strong, but their secondary, I'm worried about their secondary outside of Horn and some of the safeties. What are your thoughts, Chad?
I thought when they went out and got a quarterback, although Bryce Young wasn't my favorite pick in this draft, I thought it was good they got a quarterback. But since then, they really haven't surrounded him with any great talent. Usually you see quarterbacks come into the league with a wide receiver with them. Look at the Bengals with Joe Burrow and T. Higgins. I mean,
Right.
You see it countless times. They didn't really give him that guy. I mean, like you said, Mingo, maybe. They went ahead and traded away their best wide receiver, to the Bears. So they get that top pick to get Bryce, but I think they're going to need to do some work, and I don't think Miles Sanders is the man to carry that team. Defensively, like you said, who do we know? It's not really that great of a defense. They have their moments, but I don't see this team running through the playoffs.
Yeah, and Matt, maybe you can answer this, but what exactly was their plan here? Why would they trade away their young stud at receiver and DJ Moore and then go and sign these old aging vets? It doesn't make any sense, especially when you're kind of starting over with a new QB.
I think they had their mind set on Bryce Young, and they didn't want anybody else to get him. And their only chip that they could give up was DJ Moore. Everything else that they wanted to keep. They have kind of the shell of what they need to do to be successful in the future. Thielen is aging, probably won't be 1,000-yard receiver, but his presence in the locker room is going to be felt. He's knowledgeable about football. DJ Chark has been around for a little bit. He has been injured, but maybe this year he'll turn around. Terrace Marshall, maybe he can kind of step up now that they're looking for a number one. Don't forget they have Laviska Shenault. So they have a bunch of number twos, not necessarily a number one. Their interior offensive line is suspect, to say the least. There's going to be a lot of double-A gap blitzes, and Bryce Young is going to be running for his life. And seeing him stand next to his offensive line, not looking great. He's about half their size. Defensively, Chad.
Bojangles' boxes are not big, and you can see how big they look in comparison to him in this picture. Even
he's
not that tall. Chad, I'm going to disagree with you on the defense. I think their defense is actually their strong suit of this team. They have a lot of good run stoppers, but they don't have a edge rusher. They don't have that guy that can go get the quarterback.
Right.
Brian Burns, maybe they just paid him. So maybe he can take that and see if he can
Yeah.
get a few
Well,
sacks with it. But
he's good, but the problem is, like, what are they going to do when he gets doubled? There's no one
Right.
else.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Shaq Thompson and Gross Matos, but they're more run stoppers than anything.
I was going to say the one person that I was going to name off that defense was Brian Burns. I don't really know any of their defensive backs or what they've done personally.
You don't know Von Bell?
Who?
You don't know Von Bell?
Oh yeah, I guess he went there.
J.C. Horn, C.J. Henderson, Von Bell, Xavier Woods, Dante Jackson, and Jeremy Chin. So their secondary is pretty stacked, but a little bit of experience.
T. Horn, I think they're all aging, aren't they?
Dante Jackson's coming off a torn Achilles, so I'm a bit worried about how he's going to do. And Henderson has been a bust so far.
Chin is young, but I don't know why he moved from from safety to nickel. They got Johnny Hecker, so in case the offense doesn't move the ball, he will.
I'm booted out of there.
Hey, he's almost as good as Pat McAfee on punters being able to throw the ball.
Yeah.
So a lot of future promise, but I mean, unless Bumper Poole, their fourth string linebacker, can do anything, I honestly don't think this team really has much hope until unless they hit in the draft next year.
Very nice. Shout out Bumper Poole. What a name.
All right, moving on, Justin. Who we got next?
The New Orleans Saints. This team, I really don't understand what their plan is. It feels like they've been in denial for like 3 years now, that they just had to start over and blow it up again. But instead, they continue to sign aging vets. At the very least, like, last year they kind of addressed a receiver issue they had by getting Chris Olave. He's a stud. Michael Thomas, though, the question is, and I'll probably bounce that to Chad or Matt here in a moment. Like, is Michael Thomas ever going to be healthy again? Like, he was a stud, had never less than like 120 receptions a season, and then all of a sudden just fell off the face of the earth. So I'm very curious to see what happens there. Kamara, how long is he going to be suspended? I think that's going to be an issue. Jamal Williams is a good goal line threat, but he's not a full-time runner. Kendra Miller, I thought, was a very underrated running back, so he could produce as a rookie.
They got Eno Benjamin too.
Yeah, we'll see what he does. I'm more optimistic about the other two than Eno Benjamin.
Sign a running back at the end of the season last year.
He was on the Cardinals.
Yeah, he was in the Cardinals.
What'd you say?
Was it Latavius Murray they had last year?
I think it was a couple years ago.
Was Eno Benjamin the guy who like did well on like a Thursday night, and then as soon as James Conner came back, got cut?
Pretty much, yeah.
Did something, right? He got an argument or something. They said, "All right, see you."
Yeah, I thought it was something like that.
Something like that.
We could be wrong, but did not expect to talk about Eno Benjamin this much. Derek Carr, I think, kind of upgrades the quarterback position. Kind of a weird ending there in Las Vegas. I think he's going to be determined to prove himself. But the offensive line kind of concerns me a little bit. They've been slowly getting worse each year as they get more aging vets, and they're not really finding a lot of replacements, it seems like. So I feel like the offensive line is continuing to get worse. On the defensive side, the pass rush has gone way worse. They just lost Marcus Davenport. He was the only good pass rusher they had last year. Cam Jordan's 34. He's not the same pass rusher he was. So I'm kind of worried they don't have anyone to get after the quarterback. I think they're like 30th in like pass rush last year. So it's only going to get worse without Davenport there. They're good at linebacker at least, but in the secondary though, like I'm a bit worried about the secondary outside of Marcus Lattimore. Chad, what are your thoughts?
We're going to go down to the bayou, son, in New Orleans, hop a ride on that Derek Carr revenge train.
That was a good Louisiana accent.
He's got 2 wide receivers he can throw to at least. He's got 2 running backs. Look out. New Orleans is coming for someone's neck.
Dang. Hey, you got – that was a good Louisiana accent. You should get Brian.
Go down to the bayou, get them damn shrimpers, son.
Definitely get Brian Kelly some tips.
Brian Kelly can shove it up his ass.
Ed Orgeron.
He really does sound like that guy from Waterboy.
Yeah. Chad, do you want to talk about the defense, or you just pass it?
Defense is what it is. I mean, they haven't really last year. I like what's his name, linebacker from Ohio State. I can't think of his name.
Pete Werner.
Can't thank you, Pete Werner. I really like him. I do agree with Justin though. They are aging, and they gotta make some changes here soon.
So I am gonna agree with the offense, but I'm gonna completely disagree with the defense. I'm gonna start with the offense. So offense, Michael Thomas, if he plays, they're gonna do significantly better than they did last year. There's pretty much no way but up from there. Offensive line, honestly, they have two decent guards. They have two really good tackles. Where they're lacking is tight end, and I think if Foster Moreau can make a comeback from his cancer diagnosis, I think he can actually put up like 400 or 500 yards. Depends on how long Kamara's out. What I've been hearing is 6 weeks, but nothing's official yet, so we'll see where that goes. But with Kamara and Williams, I do like that duo a lot because they're polar opposites on how they run the ball. Defensively, they are aging on their starters. They have Demario Davis and Cam Jordan, probably two of the oldest people on this defense. But they got Brian Breesy and Isaiah Foskey to come in. Both guys can get to the quarterback. And then I actually really like their secondary. Tyrann Mathieu, still aging but still balling. Marcus May, Marshawn Lattimore, and Bradley Roby. I mean, that's a solid secondary. But just like Arthur Smith, Dennis Allen is on the hot seat. So he's going to be playing for something. Derek Carr is going to be playing for something. So watch out for the Saints to make some noise in the season. Probably just nothing in the playoffs.
Yeah. I kind of see them as like Detroit of last year. Their offense is going to put up some big numbers. I'm a little worried about their defense, like I said, but
I'm worried about their run defense, to be honest.
Yeah. I have concerns with both sides of the ball, really.
That's fair.
But on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, last team in this division. First of all, like, I guess we'll have to wait and see what Baker Mayfield looks like. I'm very curious at this point because, like, what is he at this point? Like, his career in Cleveland was off to such a great start, and then he had the 1 year where he got like 11 different injuries, and Stefanski still just suddenly had him throw the ball like every play. They threw it like 60 times when he had like a torn labrum. It made no sense. And then, like, he really wasn't the same after that. Until late last year, it seemed like he kind of caught some fire with Sean McVay. We'll see what he does. He's got good receivers to throw to. Mike Evans is still a stud, but he is kind of declining a little bit. Chris Godwin's good when he can stay healthy. Russell Gage, I don't think was as good as expected last year, but he's still pretty solid. I don't know what they have at running back, really. Like, Rashad White has been getting a lot of noise this offseason, but I'm not sure if I buy it yet.
And I don't think Chase Edmonds is good enough to really go the distance.
Yeah, Chase Edmonds has been passed around the league now several times. He hasn't really produced much of anything anywhere. He can pop one every once in a while, but that's all he's good for. He's not someone that's going to carry the ball more than 10 times.
Baker Mayfield is definitely going to go 20 for 60 with 3 touchdowns and 4 picks every game.
It feels like we're going that direction, being honest. The offensive line also sucks, by the way, so you may not even get 60 passes out. The offensive line lost Donovan Smith and Shaq Mason. Those are the only two people that were around last year that were even decent. Everyone else is bad. Ryan Jensen does come back from injury, which does help, but losing those two and not really having any sure replacements is not good. I mean, I did kind of discount Tristan Wirfs. He is the best lineman left on that team, I think. But yeah, that offensive line struggled last year, and I don't really think they did enough to improve it. Defensively, they don't have much of a pass rush. Kind of concerned about that. They can stop the run, though, better than anybody. Yeah, they have a good run defense. Devin White and Levante David, that duo has been doing work here for a while, but they're getting up in age. And Devin White has not been happy. He's wanted out. So I'm curious to see how that looks. But I do like what the secondary looks like. Antoine Winfield Jr. is one of the best safeties. They just added someone else whose name is escaping me at the moment to kind of help at safety. And they have a good duo at corner right now. So I think their
Ryan
defense
Neal.
is pretty tough. Ryan Neal, thank you, Matt. Chad, what do you think?
You know, it's hard losing Tom Brady. You know, it's hard. You know, ask what's his name, Bill Belichick about it.
Yeah.
To go from Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield is probably gonna kill the organization. I really look at this offense, and I'm really concerned about what they can do. Their offensive line, to me, isn't terrible. I like you said, I really like Jensen coming back. I like the Cody. I'm pronouncing it wrong, but Cody Mock, and then Tristan Wirfs. I think they're great together. And obviously the receivers are good, but you can't do anything without a running game, and you can't do anything without a quarterback that can throw it. I just don't see Baker Mayfield doing that. I see Kyle Trask coming in midway through the season, flopping as well. Defensively, though, I think defense is the best part of this team. I really love their pickup of Kalijah Cansey. Vita Vea is always good. Devin White, Levante David, Shaq Barrett. I mean, and you can talk about their defensive backs all day. I think their defense is what's going to keep them in ball games. I just don't think their offense is going to carry them.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there because Baker Mayfield has the receivers to help him. Doesn't necessarily have the running backs to help him. Offensive line, there's a rule of thumb in the NFL that you really only need 3 good offensive linemen to really make be able to go anywhere in the NFL. They have 3 good offensive linemen. I have no idea who Matt Feeler is or Luke Gaedick. I don't know how to say his name, but they don't sound like. Huh?
I think it might be Godecki.
I don't know. That's spelled weird. They don't really have a tight end either. Like, I don't even know where any of these guys came from.
Bad because
So
they have Gronk.
It's literally going to be Baker Mayfield running around for his life, throwing the ball as far as he can downfield, and hoping Mike Evans or Chris Godwin is open. And
underneath it because he can't hit anybody.
I have heard that Rachaad White is tearing it up. So there's a lot of promise with the coaching staff of Rachaad White. Defensively, like you said, Chad, they're going to live or die by the success of their defense. They're going to rely a lot on coverage sacks. So I think that's why they didn't want to spend a ton of money on an edge rusher. But Cansey, I mean, they have him slated as a defensive end, which I thought he would line up next to Vita Vea.
Yeah. He's definitely, he seems more like an interior defense lineman to me.
Yeah, and then
rotate.
Levante David is aging. Devin White wants out, so if he can't get a contract, then I think this defense starts to fall apart. Todd Bowles, and yet another situation where you don't want to be in as a head coach. First thrown into the shit show up in New York for the Jets, and now Tom Brady leaves him with nothing. So feel bad for Todd Bowles. He's probably done with head coaching positions after this one.
Do they give Byron Leftwich a chance?
Probably not.
They
passed on him last time.
They fired.
They were done with him as offensive coordinator. He got exposed about Brian Arians.
Well, I mean, Brian Arians is a legendary. Bruce Arians is a legendary head coach. So
yeah,
everybody would look shitty in comparison. So that is the NFC South. Justin, show us the predictions.
Picks.
So
I'm going to
start. I chose the Saints winning the division. This is really not that good of a division. It's terrible.
It's rough.
Three of the coaches are on the hot seat. All of them rely on good quarterback play.
Really say all 4 are on the hot seat, really. I mean,
not really. Frank Reich just got hired. They could literally lose every game and he wouldn't be fired.
He might.
Yeah, that's true. But I think the Falcons and Saints are going to be fighting for 1-2. Buccaneers and Panthers are going to be fighting for a top 10 pick.
I have the Atlanta Falcons winning the division. I like the fact that they at least have a plan. They have an identity and they're going full speed in that. I think with their run game, kind of protecting the ball that way, the Falcons will at least do enough to win this terrible division. The Panthers have some young, talented guys. Bryce Young, I think will do pretty well. And they actually managed to, despite having an interim coach most of the year, they were in contention for the division until the last week of the year. So I do think they can kind of stick around a little bit.
Didn't they go 10 though?
Yeah. I mean, everyone went like 6-10 in this division. The Buccaneers, I like what their defense is like. That's going to make them tricky against anyone. But in the end, the other tough part was the Buccaneers won the division last year, so they face a significantly tougher schedule than anyone else in the division in this division does. So even though I think they actually might be second in talent compared to the Falcons, they'll end up third. The Saints, I just worry about the offensive line going downhill. A lot of aging vets in this team, just so many question marks. That's why I ended up with the Saints in the last spot.
That's why I completely disagree with you. I think you got Derek Carr coming in and, like I said, on his revenge tour, eating the crawfish down there in the bayou, getting all that protein. He's gonna be all over the field. To Michael Thomas, Chris Olave already showed you last year what he can do. You got two running backs that he can dump it to. They can run it. They can do all sorts of stuff. No matter how long Kamara is suspended for, I see the Saints really running all over that division. That being said, this is, like Matt said, this is a rough division, similar to the NFC East.
But just way worse.
All have losing records, and one of them gets in the playoff,
Yep, and loses in the first round.
I will say the Atlanta Falcons, I think they're going to be a big surprise this year. I think
so too.
Offensive weapons like wide receivers, like other than Drake London and Kyle Pitts, it's kind of hard for them to keep up. But I do think they make a push for a wild card spot. The Carolina Panthers, I think, wasn't enough. I think their focus wasn't in the right place. They got Bryce Young, and then they just kind of, muddled through the draft. Didn't really do anything for him. And I think that they're going to have to do some growing. There's going to be some definite growing pains there. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when they signed Baker Mayfield, they just signed their nose to be the last place team in the league this year.
Don't you think that may be their intention, though? Get Caleb Williams?
And then find some, young head coach to pair with him?
Maybe.
Maybe Cliff Kingsbury?
Lincoln Riley?
Yeah.
Let's throw all those names out there.
Who knows? There's a lot of teams out there that could be in last place.
Yeah. Well, that is the NFC South. Any last thoughts, guys?
I will say, I think when you think about these teams in the playoffs, they're most likely not a threat. But probably the Atlanta Falcons, I think, is the one that's going to be the trickiest, just because they're going to be in every game because of their style. The ground and pound, control the clock. That's going to make the Falcons a team you have to be patient against. I think
that's where Arthur Smith is a genius.
Yeah.
I think Revenge Tour just overtakes that, though.
Yeah, I think Derek Carr's just going to bomb the ball all over the place, and that's going to be the most entertaining team to watch this year in the South.
I'm very interested. I like you guys' optimism about Derek Carr.
Derek Carr's the man, dude.
Yeah.
Toys.
He goes from black and silver to black and gold.
Yeah, that's just an upgrade from there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is the NFC South. We will see you guys next time. Peace.